Hi, Bobcats. It's Mr. Hahn. I hope that you've all had a great weekend. Today, I'm going to walk you through our Bobcat SEL lesson or assignment number 7 for the week of October 5th. And today, our lesson is going to be an introduction to executive functioning. So, before I get into today's lesson and you guys do your assignment, I want to quickly review what we've been working on so far this school year in Bobcat and our SEL lessons. So first, you guys started off with some introductions to our wonderful counselors and to myself. Hopefully, you all feel like you know all of us a little bit better and you know how to access each. You guys have also completed an SEL competencies self-assessment where you rated yourself on the different SEL skills and competencies, including self-awareness, social awareness, responsible decision making, and relationship skills. Most students identified that self awareness was their greatest area for improvement, and we've been focusing over the last couple of weeks on self awareness and gaining self awareness about ourselves and learning about the different learning styles and your own personalities. You guys have completed a self assessment to learn about your own unique learning style, as well as a self assessment to learn about your personality. In addition to those things, you've reviewed a presentation from the counselors and from the SEL about suicide awareness and prevention. And you've also reviewed a presentation about restorative practices and how to request a restorative practice at Bell. Anytime you would like to go back and review any of these lessons or look back at any of this information, you should be able to access any of these lessons in your Bobcat Google Classroom, but you can also access them on the SEL Google Classroom or email me at any time, and I'd be happy to answer any questions or share that information with you. So my hope at this point is that you all know who your counselor is and how to access them. I hope that you have a better understanding of suicide awareness and prevention, and you know more about restorative practices and how to request one at Bell. I also hope that you have a better understanding of what self-awareness is, and that you now feel like you know yourself a little bit better than you may have known yourself before. By improving your self-awareness, this will help you improve your other SEL skills and competencies. Okay, so we're now going to take a break from our lessons on self-awareness, and now we're going to learn a little bit and practice some skills and learn more about executive functioning. Don't worry, we will get back to self-awareness. We're going to do some more lessons on that, including something on learning about your identity and other identities of other people. But for now, we're going to focus on executive functioning because we've got the end of the quarter coming up here. All right, so why are we even going to focus and learn about executive functioning? There's been people throughout the building, whether it's your teachers, your counselors, or administrators, we feel like these are all very, very important skills and things to learn as they impact our lives in just so many different ways. We've also noticed, both from students reporting it as well as teachers talking about that they're struggling to focus and pay attention for such long periods of time or for your block classes. We know that this is a new format for many of you and that it can be difficult to adjust and maintain your focus for that long. Teachers have also noticed that students are rushing through their schoolwork and their lessons without taking the time to follow directions, and that it seems like students aren't meeting their full potential or doing the best work that they're capable of. It's also been noted that students at times are struggling to plan long-term projects, and students are struggling to stay organized and manage their time. So I hope that today's lesson and our lessons on executive functioning will help address some of these issues. Our learning outcomes for today include understanding what executive function is and why it's important, identifying the impact of students' levels of executive function in our schools, classrooms, and individual or group work, and that you guys will begin to plan for strategies that will support your development of executive functioning skills. In today's lesson, The things that you guys will need to do, your tasks are, you will review this Google slide along with the audio recording that you're viewing now. You will complete today's lesson exit ticket or the Google form to check for your understanding and to receive credit for assignment completion in your Bobcat class. And you'll complete a grade check and weekly assignment tracker sheet, which will be used for your next Bobcat class later this week. You can access these links here by clicking on these links. So for example, to let the exit ticket or the assignment for today, you will click on this link, which will bring you here, and you will go ahead and answer the questions. These, your responses will be viewable to myself, your grade level counselor, as well as your Bobcat teacher. Let me get back to where we just were. You will also click on the link for the grade check sheet, which is both here as well as at the end of this presentation. And you'll begin working on filling out this sheet. This is something that's likely to be helpful not only this week, but if you can make a regular practice of doing something like this. It's fairly self-explanatory, but if you have any questions or confusion, your Bobcat teacher should be able to help you with that. You're also going to click on, oh, I'm sorry. You're also going to check out the weekly assignment tracker sheet, which will help you stay organized and stay on top of each one of your classes and for each day. That will look like this, and it's hopeful that you use this not only today, but that you use this throughout the year just to help you improve your academics. All right, so let's get into today's lesson on executive functioning. What is executive functioning? Executive function is a set of mental skills that include working memory, flexible thinking, and self-control. We use these skills every day to learn, work, and manage daily life. Trouble with executive function can make it hard to focus, follow directions, and handle emotions, among other things. Executive function is responsible for many skills, including things like paying attention, organizing, planning, and prioritizing, starting tasks and staying focused on them to completion, understanding different points of view, regulating emotions, and self-monitoring or keeping track of what you are doing. Development of executive functioning skills usually develops quickly early in childhood and into the teen years, but they continue to develop into your mid-20s. This is something that everyone is constantly using and practicing throughout their lives. Signs of executive functioning issues include it can affect people in a number of different ways. The difficulties often look like the signs of ADHD, which ADHD is a problem with executive functioning. People struggling with executive skills may have trouble starting or completing tasks, have difficulty prioritizing tasks, forget what they heard or read, have trouble following directions or a sequence of steps, have trouble keeping track of their belongings. They may panic when rules or routines change. They may have trouble switching focus from one task to another. They may get overly emotional and fixate on things. They may have trouble organizing their thoughts, and they may have trouble managing their time. These difficulties can cause trouble with learning, but that doesn't mean that people are lazy or not intelligent. People who struggle with executive function are just as smart and work just as hard as other people. Next, we're going to take a closer look into the life of a child with executive functioning issues. If you're following along in today's presentation, you can click on the link to learn about Josh and what what a day in his life looks like. I'm going to go ahead and read through this with you guys so you can learn more about Josh and how executive functioning issues affects his life. Meet Josh, a sixth grader with executive functioning issues. This doesn't mean he isn't smart. It means his brain's self-management system has trouble getting organized and getting things done. Executive functions are an important set of mental skills to see how trouble with these skills affects kids in school and outside of it too. Take a look at the typical day in Josh's life. At 7 a.m., Josh knows he's forgetting something. Ah, that's it, his cleats for today's game. He runs back inside to get them, but he ends up leaving his backpack at home as he races to catch the bus. He sprints past the checklist his mom made to help him remember what he needs for school. But it's too late. The bus is about to pull away. He's going to miss it again. At 11 a.m., Josh's teacher asks, "Who has a good answer to the first question I gave you yesterday about last night's reading assignment?" Josh squirms, hoping he won't be called on. He didn't write the questions in his planner and has no idea how to answer them. 1 p.m. It's the best part of the school day, lunch. But Josh hogs the conversation, talking way too loud and too much about his video games. He doesn't notice how annoyed his friends are getting. At 3 p.m., in soccer, Josh is so focused on getting the ball that he doesn't keep in mind which direction he's supposed to run once he gets it. He quickly heads for the nearest goal and kicks the ball right into his own team's net. At 6 p.m., Josh isn't happy when his mom tells him to turn off the TV and set the dinner table. When he thinks he's done, his little sister tattles that once again he forgot to give each person a cup. Frustrated with his sister and with missing his TV show, Josh loses his cool and screams at her. 8 p.m. After lots of prodding from his mom, Josh sits down to do his homework, but he doesn't know where to start. Instead of doing the book report to the math problems that are due tomorrow, he surfs the web to find a topic for his science report that's due next week. Then he takes a break to play the video game. 10 p.m. When Josh finally starts the book report, his mind keeps jumping from one thought to another. He can't figure out what to write and only gets one sentence down on paper. Before he gives up for the night, he thinks he can do more on the way to school tomorrow, even though he's never gotten anything done while riding the bus with his friends. Midnight. It's way past his bedtime. Josh is exhausted. He tries to go to sleep, but he can't shut off his brain. He keeps worrying about disappointing the teacher with his book report and getting teased by his teammates for kicking the ball into the wrong goal. So, after hearing about Josh and a day in his life, do you feel like you can relate? Think about it for a minute. If you feel like you can relate or you suffer from some of these same issues, the good news is that you can overcome these type of issues by learning more about executive functioning and practicing executive functioning skills, which we're going to do throughout this school year. All right, Bobcats, so what's next? Now you've been introduced to executive functioning. Here's what we're going to do now. We want to help you guys get organized and plan for success for your remote days. We know that this year's schedule brings lots of different challenges, and in particular, remote days can be the most challenging. So what I'd like you guys to do is think about which student you are. Are you a hybrid cohort A student? Are you a hybrid cohort B student? Or are you a remote student? Depending on which student you are, click on one of the links. It'll bring you to a handy dandy little sheet that Mrs. Lee helped create, or that she created, on steps to success and some tips. This will give you an overview of what's important for each day, how to prioritize, and how to be successful on your remote days. It'll give you some time frames or what each day should look like. This will be true not only for hybrid A students, as I've shown in this schedule, but also for hybrid B students and for remote students. After you viewed this, and I would suggest that you print it out or that you save it so that you can access this at any point to help you. Next, you will, with your remaining time in Bobcat today, or as homework, or during your Bobcat class tomorrow or later this week, we'd like you to go to Infinite Campus. You can use the following link to go there. Then you're going to complete the linked grade check sheet. One of our wonderful teachers has helped create this grade check sheet, and it's fairly self-explanatory, but you're going to go through this and you are going to complete this. We would like for you to spend a few minutes with your Bobcat teacher this week to review your grade check sheet and discuss your grades and areas for improvement with your Bobcat teacher. We'd also like you to take a look at the weekly assignment tracker sheet, which will help you stay organized each week. That will look like this. For each one of these documents, I would highly recommend that you either print them out, that you make a copy and save them to your Google Drive, or you take a screenshot or you have some way to access each of these documents at any time. That's it for today's Bobcat SEL lesson. I hope that you all are doing well and that you all are getting something out of these lessons. I wish you success on finishing this quarter strong, and I will see you later this week, Bobcats.